Question 3 is asking us to factor the trinomial completely. So we're going to do this by using the AC method. And on the previous questions, they had already listed what AC and B were and what all the different pairs of numbers are. From now on, we have to do that ourselves. So AC is A times C, so 5 times 3 is 15. And B is the number multiplied by the x, or negative 16. So I need to pick two numbers that multiply to give me 15, but add to give me negative 16. So I'm going to start by listing some numbers that multiply to give me 15. So like 3 and 5, 1 and 15, negative 1, negative 15, negative 3, and negative 5. All these numbers multiply together to give me 15. Now let's add them up, and we want to find which pair of numbers add to give you negative 16. So 3 plus 5 will be 8, 1 plus 15 is 16, negative 1 plus negative 15 is negative 16, and that actually is it. So if you can find the numbers quickly, you don't need to list out all the pairs, because once you get the two numbers, meaning the negative 1 and the negative 15, that's really all I care about. So that tells us how we're going to split up this middle term. So it's going to be a negative 1x minus 15x. Now the first term and the last term, the outside terms, I just bring those down. So the 5x squared and the plus 3, those just come down. Now that I have four terms here, I can factor by grouping. So I want to take an x out of the first two, leaving me with 5x minus 1. And I can take a negative 3 out of the second two, leaving me with 5x minus 1. So whatever's in parentheses, that becomes our first factor. And then whatever's outside the parentheses, or the x minus 3, becomes our second factor. And that'll be our answer. And if you wanted to check this, you could FOIL that out and you would get back to where you started. Let's look at number 4. The AC, well, this is like a 1. So 1 times negative 21 would be negative 21. And B is negative 4. So numbers that multiply to give negative 21 would be negative 1 and 21. And those add up to be 20, so that's not it. Other things that multiply to be negative 21, negative 3 and 7. If I add those up, that would be 4. So we're close. Let's just flip the sign. So 3 and negative 7. So if I flip the sign, 3 plus negative 7 is negative 4. And that would be the two that I want. So 3 and negative 7, that tells me how I'm going to break up my middle term. It's going to be a 3x and a minus 7x. And then the outside ones, meaning the x squared and the minus 21, I'm just bringing those down. So I haven't changed the value at all of this. I've just changed how it looks, meaning you could recombine the 3x and the negative 7x and get back to the negative 4x. But now I want to factor by grouping, and if I take an x out of the first two, that's going to leave me with an x plus 3. If I take a negative 7 out of the second two, that will also leave me with an x plus 3. And as long as you're picking the right two numbers, the factor by grouping should always work out. On the previous section, we had to rearrange some. We shouldn't really have to rearrange any in the AC method. It should always work out if you pick the right two numbers. So then the x plus 3 becomes your first factor, and the stuff that's left over, or the x and the minus 7, combine to become your second factor. And and that'll be our answer.